Ghost of Tsushima. It takes an insane amount of influence from Breath of the Wild, with how it allows you to discover the world at your own pace. Yet Tsushima feels vibrant and alive. It's the star of the show. I never got bored riding my horse Kage through fields and over mountains. It rewards you for your curiosity and nudges you along in a way that doesn't beat you over the head with the fact that you're playing a video game. There are no arrows, no blue lights telling you where to go, no bar at the top of your screen reminding you to stay north, none of that. If you want to get anywhere, all you have to do is follow the guiding wind. If you swipe up on the touchpad, the wind will start blowing in the direction of whatever your current objective is. You can set it to specific places, missions, or you can invest your technique points in different guiding winds. Though it's not something I personally did until I beat the game, and really just wanted to explore the world while still at least having some vague goal. I invested one whole technique point into the Vanity Wind. I then immediately spent 2 hours just following the breeze. Every so often being sidetracked by a fox that I just knew would lead me to an Inari shrine. It was always worth it, if not for the extra charm slot, but for the whimsy of veering off course in chase of woodland creatures. Tsushima is the most gorgeous game I have ever played, and while it never stood a chance of standing toe to toe with The Last of Us Part 2 in terms of being a graphical powerhouse, Tsushima has such a rad style that lovingly emulates classic samurai films. Particularly those of Akira Kurosawa, so much so that they added a mode dedicated to the famed director. This mode puts a black and white filter over everything to replicate Kurosawa's films. Honestly, this is really cool, and I know that they had a lot of help from the Kurosawa estate in order to make this mode as authentic as possible. It's just not my thing. I mean, I adore the vibrant colors of the world. One of my favorite moments occurs when me and Kage were traveling through this bright yellow-leafed forest, and all of a sudden the forest opens up to this striking kelp green field. This is a moment that has stuck with me through roughly 30 hours of playtime. It's such a small moment that could be easily overshadowed with a black and white filter over it. I just valued those colors and those moments far too much to go that extra mile. Though I did notice while experimenting with the Japanese voice lines that they use the English animations, so it always looks a little off. It seems like a really weird oversight to me because they just went to so much trouble to make sure the rest of the game was so authentic. It just really seems like a big oversight. But if you're a real big fan of classic samurai films, I still think that there'll be something special for you there. But even if you don't go for Kurosawa mode, the entire game is a giant love letter to samurai cinema, and it's clear to me that Sucker Punch went to extreme lengths to ensure their vision of Tsushima was as historically accurate as possible.
You have an impressive home. Won't you welcome me inside? Your people are tired, hungry, cold. Open the gate and save them!
Taking the role of Jin, at first I didn't really care for him. He was a blank slate. There is nothing that immediately endeared me to him. Instead, my emotions were immediately focused on Khotun Khan, the game's villain. He is phenomenal. He has so much gravitas about him, and he chews up every scene he is a part of. He's formidable, brutal, and Jin pales in comparison to the Khan. Jin starts out in a place of purity, untouched by outside forces. He is the textbook example of a samurai, and it's really interesting to see his story unfold, because his people are being tortured, they're being butchered, and his code is holding him back. So it's interesting to see just how far Jin was willing to push himself to save his home, even if it means turning his back on honor and embracing the shadows, becoming a legend in the eyes of the people. Coming off of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice last year, I was afraid that I would be left in the dust when it came to the game's combat. I've never been good at parrying, and the majority of my time in Sekiro looked like this. I mean, I knew going into Ghost that the timing of the combat would not be nearly as brutal and unforgiving as Sekiro, but Jedi the Fallen Order proved to me that I'm just plain terrible at parrying. Luckily, Ghost of Tsushima lets you take on the Mongol invaders in any way that you see fit. Just about any of the overwhelming amount of options is viable. You can walk straight into a Mongol encampment with honor, taking your enemies head on. Or you can stick to the shadows and eliminate a whole camp without ever being seen. Though, to be straight, Tsushima's melee combat is incredibly accessible, and for the most part boils down to rock, paper, scissors, as over time you will knock different stances. Each stance is effective against a certain type of enemy. Stone stance works against swordsmen, water stance against shieldsmen, wind against long weapons, moon stance against brutes. I never found the stealth gameplay though to be particularly engaging, and whenever I would come across a group of Mongols, I instantly pressed that standoff button. I love standoffs. I love how cinematic everything about it feels, the way in which they frame these moments, and the intensity that builds up, culminating in a single moment that gets my blood pumping every fucking time. I mean, it's the most samurai thing you can do. Approach your enemy head on, stare at him straight in the eyes, and slice him down at the soonest possible opening. I only got more and more obsessed with standoffs as I began to sink technique points into my standoff abilities, allowing me to eventually chain together multiple kills into a single standoff. It's fucking badass. You know, while I was cruising for a little bit being a samurai tank, as the game progresses, the difficulty ratchets up, often forcing me to take full advantage of my toolset. But most of the time, I was discouraged from using anything more than just my sword and bow. You see, the reason is, let's look at how much stuff you got. You've got kunya, you've got smoke bombs, you got sticky bombs, you got 2 different types of bows, and like 3 different types of ammunition for each. There are blow darts with 2 different types of poison. You got firecrackers. And honestly, I know there's a bunch more, but I don't even want to go into that right now. All these tools are fun and useful in their own ways. The problem is that the game is so laser focused on being as fluid and unobtrusive to the player as possible. They wanted to eliminate menus as much as they could, so trying to navigate between all these items can be overwhelming. The game gives you 2 different item wheels. I constantly found myself fumbling through to different sub-wheels, full of unique items, trying to equip my longbow only to accidentally throw a firecracker out, alerting everyone to my presence. I know they wanted to have everything available at the player's fingertips, not needing to navigate through menus to equip stuff, but there was just too much going on, making everything feel a little bloated. But even after forgetting where the smoke bombs were for the 50th time, it was only ever a passing inconvenience, an unsavory blip in an overall package that for me breathed a new life into a genre that has been stagnant for years. What makes Tsushima feel truly alive is its people. The people of Tsushima, its villagers, its warriors, its hunters, and its fishers. They all give Jin a reason to fight. And I love seeing Jin interact with the world's characters. From Yuna, the clever assassin who saves Jin after the massacre at Komoda Beach, to Lady Masako, a broken warrior on a path that mirrors Jin's. In fact, all of these stories are reflections on a specific part of Jin's journey. And the more I bonded with my allies, the more clearly I began to see Jin. I really like that the game never likes to impose on the player too long, and most activities are designed to be done relatively quickly, and usually it will let you know when you are about to take on a longer journey. It's really all about getting you back into the world, discovering the world through truly dynamic systems that I think come together to make Ghost of Tsushima my game of the year so far. I am nowhere near close to ending my time with Ghost of Tsushima, and while Jin's journey is at an end for now, mine is just beginning. I fully intend to explore every hilltop and every hot spring that Tsushima has to offer on my way to the Platinum Trophy. Usually that's not something I do with open world games. I just don't do it because the only other one I've done that with was Spider-Man. And if swinging around New York City wasn't absolutely fan-fucking-tastic and a fun time, I would not have bothered, because that game is also just an open world checklist at the end of the day. But I think that's a testament to just how much I think Ghost of Tsushima gets right. Oh yeah, before you guys take off, do me a big favor, check out my new Twitter. I just opened it out. I put a lot of dumb shit on there, just like if I'm thinking something random at 3 a.m. while playing Paper Mario, I'll put it up there. I've been tweeting a lot about Cuphead recently because that shit's just been beating the shit out of me. But yeah, what did you guys think of Ghost of Tsushima? Let me know in the comments. Or maybe you're like me and you saw Cuphead was released on PS4 randomly. Maybe you've been diving into that. Let me know what's up, what you've been doing lately. But anyways, in the meantime, till I talk to you again, don't forget, video games are fucking rad.